This week, Luis asks, where do you get music to play in your podcast? And also, how much do you pay? I'm going to answer this question and I'm going to tell you where you can get some of my personal stash of royalty free music that's not available anywhere else. So stick around. Okay, Luis. So you asked, where do you get music to play in your podcast? I'm looking for a place to pull music at any time. Also, how much do you pay? This is a really good question, and you're going to want to make sure in your podcast that you're using PodSafe music because copyright infringement will get you pulled down from Apple and Spotify very quickly. You see, these companies have artificial intelligence that actually will scan your episode like YouTube does and pull your content if it includes copywritten material. And the last thing you want to do is spend a bunch of time on your podcast and then use some copyrighted material and get your podcast pulled and get banned from Apple Podcasts, right? It's a really easy thing to fix, and it's actually really affordable. And if you stick around with me to the end of this video, I'm going to tell you where you can get access to my private library of royalty-free music. The music's not available anywhere else, and you can get it for free, okay? So, where I get all my music from, aside of my private stash, is a site called audiojungle.net, okay? I love Audio Jungle because it's real musicians who are actually creating music in all kinds of different genres that are available to license under a royalty-free music license. Okay, so royalty-free means you pay for it once and you use it for the life of your business, okay? So typical music licensing is paid ongoing. So that's something that would be in a film or a TV show where they're licensing the music and they're gonna pay throughout. But royalty-free music, you pay once, you use it for as long as you like. So Audio Jungle is a great site because the other sites tend to have what I'd consider to be elevator music. And audiojungle.net is real artists making real music that's current, it's modern, and there's a really great way that you can just filter and find what you want. So the first thing I'm going to recommend when you're getting royalty-free music is get an instrumental track. You don't want any vocals because that's going to compete with anything you're saying over it, okay? The second thing I'm going to tell you is try not to get anything that's too busy, right? You want to get music that matches your vibe, but if the music is too distracting, the human ear can really only focus on one thing at a time. And you want them to focus on your voice or something that you're saying over it. So try to find something that matches your vibe, potentially, cinematic or makes a more professional feel and that's not too busy. So I love Audio Jungle because you can filter to genres, length, you can filter through all kinds of different parameters that is going to let you find your music faster, okay? It's going to let you find your music like insanely fast. And the beauty of this is that the tracks range from $9 to $39 for the license. So you can get a track for as low as $9 and use it in your podcast almost forever, okay? Now, the second question that I got in this same topic is, do you reuse the same music for your podcast in each episode? What do you think of using different music for each episode? Okay, so this is a great question. What I want to tell you is that there's no rules in podcasting. So you don't have to use the same song every single episode. You can mix it up. You can change it every episode if you wish. You could change it every once in a while. You don't have to stick to the same song, okay? And surprisingly, when you throw in new music, it surprises the listener, which is going to keep them coming back for more. One of the greatest things that you can do in a podcast, which is why I love using Poddex in my podcast, is surprising your audience, okay? If they can predict what's going to happen in your episode, they're less and less likely to continue to keep coming back. They want to be surprised and delighted. So switch it up. Ask people, did you like this song better than the last episode? And see what happens. Test and learn. So my answer to that question is, yes, I reuse the same music in my podcast right now, but that doesn't mean that I won't change it later on. Okay, so you may be wondering, hey, you mentioned that you have a private little secret stash of royalty-free music that I can get. That's right. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to music.poddex.com, and all you do is put your email in, and I will send you a direct link to my private royalty-free music stash. I've got over 25 songs that you can use in your podcast without paying any licensing. I've got rock songs and hip hop songs and dance songs and instrumentals and everything that you could ever imagine. So I want to give this as a gift to you for being in my world, so you can use music in your podcast and have the option to change it up every once in a while without having to pay for it. So just go to music.poddex.com and put your email in. I'll send you a link to the secret private stash page. It would be cool if you commented in your comments and said, hey, this music comes from Poddex, but no big deal. If you can't do it, that's fine. And but you'll have 25 songs at the tip of your fingers that you can download whenever you need them. So that's my gift to you. All right. Well, that was the music consultation therapy part of our podcast. And speaking of new music, let's throw some new music on the end of this podcast. All right. And I'll see you in the next therapy session, podcast therapy.